Hello everybody, my name is Alan Singer and I'm a professor of secondary education at Hofstra University. And what we're going to be doing with some students from my social studies methods class is we're putting together a review package to study for the New York State Teacher Certification Educating All Students test. Some of my friends and colleagues have agreed to be in the video with us. Other people in the background, but they can speak, they just won't be seen live. I have a study sheet, and these pieces will be attached to the video, so people who are watching the video can also look at the study sheet. There are a couple of things that I think are crucial as we prepare for the Educating All Students exam, and that's what I want to focus on. Partly what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be translating education jargon into people talk, so we know what they're actually asking us to do. People get very tense about the test because a lot rides on it. You have to pass the test to become a certified teacher in the state of New York. But what people don't always realize is they don't have to do that well. One of the things that happens is instead of telling you you got a 75, or instead of telling you you got a 60, instead of telling you 50, the scores run from 400 to 600. For those of you who are not that good at math, basically, if you get a 500 on this test, you only need to get 50% of the points. That means the passing score in this test is really only a 50. And that's important, because if you only need to get a 50 to pass, don't worry about it. Just relax. Get your questions right and you will be okay. In baseball, if you make out 7 out of 10 times, you bat 30%, they send you to the Hall of Fame. The key is hit your pitch. Get your questions right, and don't worry about the ones that you don't know. If you get your questions right, you will be fine. The other thing you have to remember about this test is this test was made by the same people who did a reading test for middle school students about a race between a pineapple and a rabbit. And the question, the passage, made absolutely no sense. And when they were challenged, they said, this is a reading test. The answer was in the prompt. Doesn't have to make sense. You have to find the answer in the prompt. I think it's very good advice for the EAS. The answer on the EAS is in the prompt. And you have to find the answer in the prompt. You don't have to agree with the answer. You just have to find it. And then you will be okay. Okay. Now, this test consists of selected response items and constructed response items. Each constructed response item will share a scenario-based stimulus material. And you read that and say, what the hell are they talking about? Well, this test consists of multiple choice questions and a brief essay. That's what that means in human talk. Multiple choice, brief essay, and everything is based on the reading passage or the prompt. Simple. The selected response counts for 70%. The multiple choice, there are 42 questions, and they count for 70% of the test. That means the 3 essays only count for 30%. Basically, you can leave the essays out and pass if you get the multiple choice correct. It means when you budget your time, don't sweat the essays. The key to passing this test are the multiple choice questions. What happens is you get buried in the essay and you don't spend your time on the multiple choice, and then you don't pass. Now, you have 2 hours and 15 minutes to complete the test, which is more than enough time. Basically, it's an hour and a half test. They give you 2 hours and 15 minutes, so relax. You will be okay. You can use your time as you wish, but this is my recommendation. What you have are 3 multiple choice sets based on the prompts, followed by an essay, and then a series of multiple choice questions that don't have an essay attached. My recommendation is you examine the prompts, answer the multiple choice questions that go along with it, and do a very quick draft of the essay. Very quick. Once you have completed the whole test, read the prompts, multiple choice, draft, read the prompts, multiple choice, draft, read the prompts, multiple choice, draft, multiple choice, then you go back and you edit your essays. You want to do the draft right after reading the prompts so it's fresh in your head. But you don't want to waste time editing it because it's not worth that many points. You edit all your essays at the end. Now, they say that language doesn't count, spelling and grammar don't count. It's not true. They say your essay must be in formal standard English. Well, that means that they count. So when you go back at the end and you proofread, you want to make sure your spelling and grammar are well done. What I recommend is if you don't know how to spell automobile, write car. C-A-R. The 3 essays, the 3 topics are always the same. The first topic is about teaching diverse student populations. The second topic is about teaching English language learners. And the third topic is about teaching students with special learning needs. Always the same 3 topics. Now, they put in information that is designed to throw you, because they're mean. So you're reading about the diverse classroom, and they say you're teaching an English lesson to 4th graders. You start pulling out your hair. Say, I don't know anything about English in 4th grade. I teach physics in high school. You don't have to know anything about English in 4th grade. This is not about English in 4th grade. This is about diverse learners. That it's English in 4th grade is just designed to confuse you. Don't get anxious. Relax. It's about diverse learners. You're going to look at English language learners, and they're going to say it's a high school math class. And you didn't like high school math when you were taking it, so you've avoided it. You don't have to know about high school math. You have to know about helping English language learners. The last set of essays is about special needs kids. And you have to know, in all cases, you have to be sensitive and supportive. We're always sensitive and supportive. All right, I recommend organizing your essays before you go in. You know what you're going to write about. You're going to have to explain how you're going to support their learning in this particular circumstance. Well, in my diverse student populations, I'm going to organize heterogeneous learning teams so that students who might normally not work together have an experience working with kids who are different from themselves and develop respect for each other. Whatever the question is, whatever the grade is, whatever the topic is, I'm going to have heterogeneous learning teams, teacher assigned, so that students develop experiences working across their differences. Once I know that's what I'm going to do, I can relax and take my test. In my English language learners, they need structured assignments because they sometimes have difficulty in deciphering the reading passage. They're getting the math wrong, not because they don't know the math, but because they don't understand the question. So I'm going to have guideline sheets, very, very structured, to help them with the assignments. With my special needs kids, I like to use pair share. I have teams, or maybe just pairs, And I have them working with other students who assist them with some of the issues that they're facing in the text. So I know in the special needs kids, we're going to do pair share. With the English language learners, they're going to get structured guidelines. And with the diversity class, heterogeneous teacher-assigned groups. Once I know what strategies I'm going to use, that takes a lot of the pressure off. I just have to adjust the data that they give me into the strategy. You must be able to identify the rights and teaching approaches applicable in each target group. You must demonstrate professional knowledge of various teaching strategies, your responsibilities, and sensitivity. We're always sensitive because we're good human beings. We're very sensitive. Do not argue with the test. Do not disagree with the answer options. One of the answer options is the one you're going to have to pick. You may think that none of them are great. That's okay. Find the one that's in the problem. That's the one you're going to give them. They're not looking for the right answer. They're looking for the answer in the passage. It's not an opinion question. Read the passages carefully first. I recommend you look at the questions, but cover the choices. Read the passage, read the question, and say, what's the answer to the question? Go back and see if you can find the answer in the prompt. And then look at the choices, and it'll pop up pretty much. If you still can't find it, just skip it and go to the next one. You can always go back at the end and reread. You can go back at the end and just fill in. Nothing gets left blank. Your essay, they say 150 to 200 words. Your essay has to be 200 words. 150 words, that only gets 75% credit. Now, you don't want to write 200 words, you just want to write the essay. When you go back at the end, count the words, either add or subtract to make it fit. Now, it's not really an essay, and that's one of the things that confuses me. You have to identify an issue, you have to describe a strategy, you have to explain why the strategy works, it would be effective. Well, that means you have to answer each of the pieces. It's not holistic. It's not who writes the best and who's imaginative. It's who identified the problem, who came up with a strategy, who explained why the strategy would work and be effective in addressing student learning. You have to answer all the parts to get credit. You don't want to give away. You don't want to swing out a ball outside the strike zone, and you don't want to give away your points. On the sheet, I have some sample essays. One of the things, I took the sample essays that they gave in their teaching guide. And one of the things I do is I highlight the first sentence of each section. One issue related to diversity that the teacher should address in planning the lesson is, the teacher should address this issue by, this strategy would be effective in facilitating student learning because. Everybody is going to write their essay in the exact same way. One issue related to diversity is, this will address the problem by, and it will be effective because. Very, very structured writing, answering the question, and everybody will pass. One last bit of advice. Sometimes you're getting stressed because you don't know a few of them in a row. What should I do? What I recommend is going for a walk. You can't raise your hand at Pearson View and say, may I go for a walk? No. Instead, what you do is you raise your hand and say, I have to go to the restroom. And you go to a walk to the restroom. No one is checking whether you peed. You go to the restroom, you splash water on your face, and you say, yes, now I'm ready. And you go back and you finish EAS, you get your teacher certification, and you're done. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck on the test.
Oh my gosh.